What? It's funny because I would have been starting talking like, here we're live, and we weren't live. But we're live now.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Welcome to the
Be like half an hour and be like, oh.
Wait, we didn't hit record.
Oh.
That would have been stupid dumb.
Inform you that we have made a terrible mistake.
Yes, indeed. What was that?
That was the YouTube video auto playing. I forgot to mute it.
Wait, was something tonight? Oh, that's too bad. Have a safe trip home. That's too bad. I was hoping to see my friend tonight. Yeah. I mean, I guess we can talk about anything because I don't know how many people are going to show up, but we'll see, I guess, in all things.
It's going to be a record-breaking show. I can
wrong direction, I think, but yeah, sure.
I can feel it in my veins. It's going to be the most viewership we've ever had.
It's funny because even YouTube Studio hasn't caught up, and it's like 0 viewers.
Yeah. If we got 0 viewers, I think I would say, let's skip.
Yeah, I'd probably do the same thing.
So if you're in the chat, just don't say anything, and then me and Travis are just gonna log off, and then
that's what'll happen
back next week.
We will literally leave if we don't see people in there, because what's the point? No, we can do it for the audio podcast listeners.
Yeah, shoot, forgot about them.
We got 18 total, but that includes like Twitter and Twitch and all the other places that I simulcast this thing. Oh, I gotta get this thing for Nathan. Hold on.
Sure.
Nathan, you want bed?
We got Simply Pops. We got El Jefe Reviews. We got Andrew Illingworth. We got some people in here. It is Sunday, unfortunately. It is not Saturday. The weekend is over.
It's a wrap.
That is kind of sad. Gadgetcast if you're tuning into a Gadgetcast episode, it means it's the end of the weekend. So that's kind of depressing, isn't it?
That's one way to think of it. Like it's the end of everything. Your life is over. Gadgetcast is on means that all the things you should have done this weekend, you've just run out of time.
Sorry.
Yeah, too bad for you. So sorry for you.
But you're gonna kill it this weekend, or this week. That's I'm going motivational.
Is that what that is?
I'm going Gary Vaynerchuk. We're gonna flip comic books and sneakers. We're gonna go to yard sales, and we're gonna find dirty sneakers. We're gonna clean them up a little bit, and we're gonna get thousands of dollars.
Is that how it works?
That's what Gary Vee told me to do.
I thought it was Saturday until now.
I'm rich now.
You're rich. Oh, your finals for today.
I've been cleaning the poop off of the sneakers and getting money. So.
Getting ready. Oh, that's why. So if it's going on right now, then that means probably part of our listenership is not paying attention to us, which is terrible. So this was terrible timing.
We're huge in Europe. So
yeah,
we actually are. We got a lot of
Yeah, we actually do. All right, well, let's get this thing going because why not?
We also missed last week, and people are like, "You're not doing the podcast on the 4th of July," and it's like, no.
We want to eat stuff, get fat, and blow things up.
And I'm pretty sure there's so much fireworks going on in my area. I'm pretty sure the podcast would have been unlistenable. It was awful. I was like, oh my god, it doesn't stop.
It's the first year you're at this location, right? For your 4th.
Yeah. So
you learned what it's
like over fireworks. There. Well, actually, it's because they recently made fireworks legal in New Jersey. They used to be illegal, and now they're legal, and people were going crazy popping them off.
Yikes.
Everywhere. And it's like, all right, guys, your little fireworks aren't even that cool. I don't even know why you bother. Seems like a waste of time and money to me, but whatever.
Yeah, I feel the same way. You're just blowing up money. Let's talk about this on the podcast.
Let's talk about my fireworks gripes in the podcast. All right, let's do it.
All right.
It's gonna be a good show.
Here we go.
You're missing out because I'm giving away a free $20,000 TV that doesn't exist quite yet.
All right. Well, here we go. Gadgetcast in 3, 2, 1, record.
Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
3, 2, 1, 0, 0, and liftoff.
Hello, world, and welcome to, without a doubt, the best podcast out there, the Space Traveling Podcast. My name is Gregory McFadden, joined always with my co-host, Travis MCP.
Space travel.
I just say
And
space travel.
yeah, I was gonna ask if you put that in there. Yeah, we finally got Justine saying space travel. Amazing. I love it.
There we go. It was a long time coming, and we did it. We did it. We need a shirt that just says space travel.
I mean, we can do that with the little rocket ship. Kind
Right?
of looks like that or something. Yeah.
Space travel is in the news. Richard Branson went up in
Oh, he
his
did?
Virgin Galactic flight today. You didn't see that? You didn't catch all that?
No, I see something on Twitter saying it's trending, but I didn't know exactly what it meant.
So, listen, obviously everyone knows it's not a heavy news week, but I actually do have a lot to talk about personally with like Windows 11. I was testing it out. So I'm going to talk about that later. But let's talk about this space travel stuff, because we do always say space travel on the podcast. Yeah, Richard Branson technically went up in space. I mean, there's kind of like this, did he really go up in space? Because apparently like the definition of space travel is a certain amount of miles up in the air. And based on one definition, he didn't go into space. And then based on another definition, he did go into space. But I think he went up about like 50 miles into the air, which he went pretty high into the air. But I'm confused about this space travel. So Travis, it looks like you didn't catch any of this coverage. I don't. So here's what I don't get. And maybe people can correct me, because I'm, despite having space travel in the podcast all the time, I'm not well versed in like NASA stuff. I know there's like a lot of like NASA nerds out there. They know all about like space travels. Someone's saying 100 miles is the US definition. So this guy, he went halfway into space. He didn't even make it. Okay. I don't know. I saw someone tweet at me that there's something to do with like the G force, and you can't like look around like as you're like going up, which makes sense to me, right? Like maybe like break your neck if you do that. I really don't know if that's the correct answer though, because anyone could say anything on Twitter, and I don't know if that's like, oh, but all I know is I saw like all these pictures of this like flight that was like really hyped up for like the past month. And it's all these people like sitting in like this small little like plane or rocket ship, and there's like windows next to them, but they're all looking straight ahead. And I'm like, I feel like if I was going to space, I'd be staring out the window the entire time going, whoa, I'm in space. And you have like Richard Branson sitting there, and he has like earbuds in his ear. Like, is this guy just like listening to music, like relaxing, like trying to get past like his like standard flight? Like, I thought like this would be like a huge deal where it's like, oh man, I'm in space. Let me look at the Earth. But I don't know. All I saw was like these pictures of people sitting like rigidly in their seat, like staring dead ahead. And I'm like, does it look fun?
Well, so here's the thing. I actually just saw a little video on Twitter with them upstairs or up in what looks to be space. Like the pictures and video from where they are. I mean, to me, I would call it space. You see the Earth below you and space around you. And I can see them, and they're floating around. So if you go to what's trending, if you go to what's trending on Twitter, you can see people are floating around in the cabin, and it looks pretty cool to me. You're probably catching pictures of them flying up. Once they got,
I got it like as they first did it, or maybe they released a bunch of stuff, and now it's stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's space enough. If I went up that high, I'm gonna say I went to space. I'm telling all my friends, posting it on all the social medias, I went to space, and anyone who said I wasn't, I would strike them down with the fury of copyright strikes and everything else, just to tell them, listen, I went, because it looks like space to me. Now, is it the actual space? Okay, maybe not, but where have you been? How far have you been?
I can share my screen, right? I haven't done this in a long time.
Yeah, you should. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, let me see if I could do this.
I actually should have done that a minute ago. I didn't even think to do that. For those of you listening on audio podcast, if you just Google, I'm sure if you just Google Sir Richard Branson in the space, you will see what we are talking about.
Yeah, I gotta unlock. I gotta let my Mac. No, I can't do it.
How far is the moon? I don't know. How far is the moon? Alexa, how far is the moon from Earth? Let's see what Alexa says.
Okay, well, let me. Can you see that?
The moon is yeah, I'll share it right there. There you go. Boom.
So this is the
312
picture I'm
miles.
talking about.
Yeah. No, that's not what I'm
This
talking
guy looks bored out of his mind. The other guy in the back is looking out the window. So I'm saying that is a lie from the other person who said you can't look out the window or you'll snap your neck.
Well, that's ridiculous.
This guy has earbuds in his ear, sunglasses on, which everyone else does. So I guess you need those. But he is not looking towards the window. He's just looking the opposite direction. I feel like when I go on like a regular plane, like the whole flight, I'm like, well, if I get a window seat, I'm looking out the window like the entire flight, because it's like, how often do you get to see like the Earth, like from like an aerial view? It's like really cool. And this guy's going into space. He's looking the opposite direction.
In fairness, like, here, let me see if I can share this. In fairness, this is what I see for those that are watching on YouTube, which of course you can go to youtube.com/gadgetcast, and this looks quite different. I mean, people are floating around the cabin, and you know, they're smiling and doing flips and rolls, and he's looking outside.
Everyone else looks totally into it. He still doesn't look into it. He still looks like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't necessarily disagree, but I mean, I think he's just he's probably one of those guys that just enjoys
actual footage. That's how high they are.
Yeah. Didn't that look like space?
Space. Yeah.
That's what I say. I say it's space too.
That could have been like B-roll. Let me see that again. Hold on. Oh, that's space.
To me, that's space. That looks like space. You can see the Earth.
Is that actually their ship? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
B-roll. I've done B-roll in my videos, and sometimes it's a little deceptive.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, listen, for me, that's close enough. It's certainly closer than any of us are doing. And yeah, he was doing a live interview, is what Rebecca's saying in the chat.
I'm going to space. I ain't doing no live interview. I'm thinking in the moment. I'm in space.
That's right. I'm in space, son. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you interviewing? I'll talk to you after.
I'll talk to you when I land. I'll tell you all about space when I land. This guy's like, because they're not up there for that long, like in this flight. I don't think they're up there that long. Like it's a very quick, like up, and then you have to like re-enter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe so. So I don't think they were up there for like a huge amount of time. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, and I mean like a huge amount of time is like, I don't know. I don't even think. Maybe like an hour max.
Well, even an hour is a long time for me. I'd be like, dang. I mean, okay,
an hour in space is not enough. I feel like if I went to space, I'd want like at least a day to be like.
I think an hour is long enough to realize, oh crap, I'm in space. I hope I can get home safely. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think around that time you're like, well, wait a minute now. How do we get down from this thing? So I think it's enough.
So Bezos is going to do this too in like a week, and you know, we're going to see if Bezos does. I think Bezos is going to soak it in a little bit more. You know, so we'll see the Bezos comparison.
Honestly, Jeff should just when he lands, like deliver a package to someone and just dunk all over it. Can you imagine? Here's your Prime delivery.
He should just deliver the package into space.
There you go.
Martin picks it up, and it's like, oh, I got it.
Yep.
So would you do this like commercial space flight? Like obviously, like this is what Amazon and Virgin Galactic are aiming to do by offering commercial flights into space. Obviously, the money to get into space is a giant barrier. So, you know, us saying we'll do it next year is probably not a possibility. But if the travel got cheap enough to the point of where you could do it, would you do something like this?
Listen, I barely want to fly normal planes.
Yeah.
I mean, the farthest I'm trying to fly is a 2-hour flight. And then beyond that, it's you pushing it. So I don't know if I want to do all that, trying to go even higher. Like, I already don't trust the travel that's one of the most safest in the world. And you want me to go do something experimental? I don't think that's going to happen, Greg. I don't see how that's going to happen for me. Let's
just say though, like we get to a point 10 years down the road, and this is like as safe as like a flight in the US. Like, would you want, like, is this on your list of something you'd be like, I got to do that?
Nah. I mean, for what? For what?
I don't know. Good view. I mean, look at the Earth.
Bro, I just saw the view.
You saw it on a computer. You know it's not the same.
How not? I just saw the view, and I'm safe here. I can eat while I'm doing it. I don't got to go through all the discomfort of all the things going on. My head doesn't have to get snapped back. I don't have to worry about crashing into the sea or something. I'm good. I'm good.
Travis is like, I saw it on the 4K OLED TV and HDR. How much better can it get?
That's right. Well, I mean, really, how much better can it get? I just take a better camera up there, and I'll be good. Just get some 8K footage, and that's good enough for me.
I don't know. I'm also like not like into flights, and I'm actually very nervous every time I get on a flight. So which
When's
is
the last
very
time you got
rare.
on a plane though? Yeah, I was gonna say, when's the last time you got on one?
The last time I got on a plane was to see Jonathan Morrison. So that was quite a
Oh, that was a long
that
time
was
ago.
like 2 years ago, right? 3 years ago. So
Something like that. Yeah.
some people travel a lot. I don't, but I need to get over that because I do want to see like other places, and air travel is the best way to do that. But yeah, I'm definitely like every time I get on the plane, it's like, well, yeah, my fate is yeah, I can't do anything, so I'm just gonna try and not think about it. And then going into space is even scarier, right? It's like, oh, that's a far distance up in the air.
It is kind of far, and it feels kind of pointless. So, I mean, if you have a reason, if there's a reason,
If I
then
could get a
convince me.
Gadget Cast episode to live stream in space, would you join me on that?
Yeah, I probably would. Why not? At that point,
We'll be doing our interview in space. We'll be just like Richard Branson. We won't even be paying attention, and we'll be like, oh no, I missed it.
So wait, someone from Apple Insider started following me on Twitter. I think they do a podcast too. I guess I should probably follow them back. That's the right thing to do, right? I just saw that.
That's proper protocol.
Yeah, followed back. Yeah. So what else are we going to talk about? Okay, you're going to have to carry this whole Nintendo Switch conversation because not only did I not see anything about it, the only things that I do know about it aren't even all that impressive. It's just a different screen, right?
Yeah. It's so for those of you that don't know, there was a lot of hype regarding a new Nintendo Switch model. There have been rumors of a Nintendo Switch Pro probably ever since the original Nintendo Switch was released. And there was like a ton of rumors. Like you think like Apple rumors are like inaccurate. This had to be like one of the biggest all-time inaccurate rumors because people were saying that this was going to be like an upgraded Switch model that could do like 4K when you dock it into your TV. The current Switch is like limited to 1080p. So there's a lot of stuff going into this that, basically a more powerful Switch like you'd get with like a PS4 Pro or when they did the upgrade at Xbox. And basically all we got out of this upgrade was a redesign that does look nicer and it has like a bigger screen. But the main thing was it has a OLED display, an OLED display, which is nice. Like I'm in for that. Like Travis and I talk all the time about how nice those screens are. But there's like a lot of disappointment about this announcement. And I actually did a video on my second channel covering this, which is strange because I never uploaded there. So that was my first video on that channel. If you want to check it out, I'll leave a link in the show notes. But yeah, it was just kind of like OLED, and it's like everything else was the same. And I also didn't understand this product because they have the Switch Lite at $200. Okay, that makes sense. That's your entry level. They have the regular Switch at $300. Okay, $100 up. Now you have this Switch, which is $50 more. And now I'm not saying it's bad. $50 more for OLED. I think it has some more memory in it, a bigger screen. Yeah, if I was buying a Switch today, I'm going for that model. What I don't understand is why keep the $300 mid-tier model? I feel like no one should get that. I feel like the $50 upgrade is probably like that's what you want because the display is like is going to be a lot better.
There could be a lot of things. I mean, there's some companies like to have a spread of products across price ranges, but it also might be the aspect of being able to make enough of these in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like maybe because as it was, Switches were still hard to get for quite a long time after they were released. I remember on Amazon when we were doing those live streams, you couldn't get a hold of them very often. And Rebecca says in the chat, saw the Dave 2D video on it. Why would you do a massive upgrade when you just sold 29 million last year? That's kind of crazy if they sold 29 million Switches last year. That's really, although if you think about it, again, COVID helps. But yeah, it's a little weird. I mean, if you think about it, for sure, it is I just think it's weird to do this kind of, it's not even an upgrade. It's an S year if you think about iPhones in a weird way, not even. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Why not at least a processor upgrade?
Yeah, I don't like that mentality though of like, well, why do it if they're selling the best? Because that's a good way to quickly fall behind. Yeah. Now I know the Switch is very unique. It's not really competing with an Xbox or a PlayStation. Like it has its own market. It's its own unique thing. But that being said, and I don't think Sony or Xbox would ever release something like this now in this market, But you don't know. Sony could come out tomorrow with like a portable system that has everything that these people wanted. And because you were so like, oh, we're ahead, we don't have to do anything special, just put a different screen on it and we're okay.
Right.
That kind of stuff, like historically, has bitten companies in the butt, the point of where like they never recover. I'm not saying that's happening to Nintendo. Nintendo is like a very, like, maybe they're right, maybe they're the only company besides Apple that could kind of do this kind of stuff, and it's like, it's not really going to hurt them. But you think of like companies like BlackBerry who had it all, and they're like, we don't need to do anything, and it's like a couple years, who's BlackBerry, you know? So it's a bad mindset to have. But you're absolutely right. Like the Switch sells like hotcakes, so technically they really don't have to do anything. No,
I totally agree with you on that. I think you're in the right mindset there. Also, you know, the other thing is like, Switch, while not trying to necessarily compete with the current and next gen processors consoles, kind of is. You'll notice that some of the games that only used to be on those consoles are now starting to find their way onto Switch. Some of the kind of higher end games, and they're just you know, bringing the resolution down so they work on the Switch. So again, I don't understand why they didn't just put a better processor in. I mean, I guess they don't want to have to. I mean, think of it like the Xbox Series X, or sorry, the Xbox One X and the PlayStation Pro. Remember when those came out? Kind of these like little bump ups, and then you get software that takes advantage of it. They could have done the same thing. I guess maybe they don't want to bifurcate that because they've never done anything like that before. You usually just have to jump an entire console. But I mean, why not?
Well, they actually have. So when they did the 3DS, which was just a portable console, they came out with the new 3DS, and that had a processor upgrade in it. And some of the games ran better on that system. And that's like a strictly portable system. So it really didn't make sense for that. And not a lot of games took advantage of that processor upgrade. But for this, there's so many, you're right, there's so many ports that come to Switch. It's actually the system that would benefit the most from it, because a lot of these ports really have to downplay either frame rate or resolution if they're making the jump to Switch. And a lot of third-party developers do want their games on Switch because they sell a lot. So they know they can get some game sales there. And especially now that, you know, when the Switch was released, it was in the PS4 and Xbox One generation. Well, now we're into PS5 and Series X. So you would figure a mid-life cycle processor bump would enable maybe some of even those games to transfer over, probably still lowering the graphics fidelity, the resolution, or frame rate. But I don't know if a PS5 game like if it had a processor upgrade, maybe you could downgrade that and get it to run on the Switch, or Switch Pro with an updated graphics card or whatever, or processor. I don't think you could do that with the regular Switch because it's just that underpowered at this point. Yeah, it's crazy. I think when you look at it from Nintendo's always kind of had their own, they've kind of gone to the beat of their own drum. I mean, they did cartridges well after the rest of the console, so had passed on to CD and beyond. And then did their own little whatever that thing was for the GameCube, their own proprietary kind of whatever those. So they always they do what they do, right? But this just seems weird that it's really just. I mean, I understand the bigger screen, like that's probably more of a selling point than the OLED in some ways. So that makes sense. But now my immediate concern is battery life, which has always been, you know, if you have a Switch and you have it undocked, depending on what you're doing, you a lot of times have to get some type of battery source for it. So I wonder if this thing is going to be marginally or substantially better. It says it's the same as the current model, which is, so the Switch had an original model, which really had awful battery life. I think it was like 3 to 6 hours max. Oh, man. And most games were like 3 hours. Then they came out with like a slightly revised model that had a bigger battery in it. And that was 4.5 to 9 hours. So a lot better. This one's going to be 4.5 to 9. Okay, cool. It's just weird. Who knows what like the development of this thing is? Again, I'm a big fan of the Switch. I like the system a lot. I don't think it even needs the processor or graphics bump, to be honest with you, because again, it's just in such a unique position. They really are competing with themselves. But I do think the introduction of just an OLED display, which I definitely appreciate. I do. Like, honestly, putting an OLED display on there might be a bigger visual update than any processor or graphics card they could put in there. Legitimately, I mean that. When I got my OLED TV, the OLED TV was a bigger jump to me in visual quality than going from PS4 to PS5. Like I really feel that. My PS4 games look so good on it. And it's like I'd rather have a PS4 with OLED, like PS4 graphics with OLED than a PS5 with an LCD display at this point.
100%.
So I think that, but like I feel like the average consumer, if you're selling them something, selling them on display technology is actually kind of difficult at this point. And I feel like the average consumer would understand it is faster or it is more powerful. So I feel like it would be easier to move those units on that rather than it has a new display. Now the thing that will sell it is saying it has a bigger display because people understand that pretty easily. So maybe that's the play here, is just a bigger display. But I really thought, like, at this point, why not revise it to a point where it is a little bit more powerful to kind of future-proof it along the way?
Well, because so now you're like, with this thing coming out, you can't expect the next generation of this thing to come out anytime soon then, really. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that kind of dashes the hopes of a next gen version of the Switch anytime soon. Because it would just be stupid for them to come out with one next year. Like that would just be insulting. So, I mean, you'd have to be a couple years away before you see that. And that just seems kind of, I don't know. It doesn't seem like such a great, but again, it could be, the chip shortage and everything probably plays into that somewhat. I mean, as it is, you still can't really get a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X very easily. So maybe that's part of the reason. Like, well, they're still selling. It still works fine. We could try to come out with something this year, but what's the rush? And that look at Grand Theft Auto 5. It's kind of the same thing. It's like, yeah, they say that might come out in like another 2 or 3 years, and at that point, that game will be over a decade old. But it just goes to show, because they don't have to move fast because it's still bringing in money. I guess you just don't move fast. Which in some ways, Apple could have done that this year, because with the iPhone 12 selling so well, apparently, 100 million phones, I think that was reported. Literally they could take this year off if they wanted to. I mean, they won't, but they could.
Yeah, it is crazy. Like I still remember back to the early days of back in March, and we're like, man, I guess it's going to be bad for the economy. All these companies are not going to be able to sell their phones and stuff because everyone's at home. And it's the complete opposite happened, where it generated this super cycle of tech purchases. Mm-hmm. And now looking back at it, it makes a ton of sense. Everyone's at home. So if you have old tech that's bothering you, you're going to be like, well, I got to use this all the time now. I need to upgrade. And it makes a whole bunch of sense when you think about it. But at the time, me and you were both in agreement of this might be disastrous for so many companies. And it was nope.
Yeah, I know. No kidding, man. It is really nuts the way that things have gone. And it's just strange.
I think the chip shortage might have played into this. There were so many rumors regarding this. And again, this has been a product that has been rumored for years, not even a rumor came out a month ago. This has been a long rumored product. So it has had a big development cycle, and a chip change at the end is probably the easiest thing to change. If the old chips, the old chips are going to fit into the new body. So it's an easier decision to make at the end, and the OLED screen is probably the thing. And I don't have any inside knowledge, but I would almost believe that it was a chip shortage issue, because I feel like the price range of this device being $50 more than the original, I just feel like, how much of a markup is that? It just feels like a weird strategy of it's $50 more. How much more money are you making from that model? And then what are the benefits really to people buying it? And then why not? The Switch is old enough at this point where the units must be a lot cheaper to make than when you first launched it. So this is the type of upgrade I would expect to replace the mid-tier, just replace the model. Oh, we have a new model that has these benefits and it's the same cost. And then you would look at it and go, oh, okay, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But releasing it as a separate price bracket up of a higher end model, it's a little strange when you consider that, because traditionally a Nintendo would come out and they would get rid of that older model, like when the PS3 or PS4 Slim comes out, well, all of a sudden the regular PS4 goes away, so there's kind of those types of revisions. And that's what this feels like to me. Maybe the regular Switch was supposed to, or this was supposed to be a Switch Pro, but maybe if they could have done it over I don't know.
Well, and they're kind of a victim of the rumor mill, which they had nothing to do with. Of this Pro's coming out, this Pro's coming out. So now everyone's extra disappointed. But I can't see how anyone would have been super excited about this anyway, because it's just such a mild jump up. But it is what it is. Listen, they're going to get their cash. They're going to sell a bunch of them, and unfortunately, it's going to buy them time before they have to create a new product.
Yeah, and honestly, like as much as I'm like kind of like trying to be on other people's side, I gotta be honest. Like the OLED display was enough for me to get excited about it, because I'm every like screen I look at now that isn't OLED or like mini LED at this point, I'm just like,
Well, I'll take that. I'll take that to another level, because I was for a long time preaching the OLED to you about TVs for a long time. I'll take it to another level. I now can't watch non-HDR content on my OLED.
Really?
And you know how I do? You know how I avoid that? Because I stream everything through my Apple TV 4K, and it automatically upconverts everything up to Dolby Vision or HDR. So I don't even watch non-HDR content anymore. And you can tell when something. So what it does is it takes non-HDR content from YouTube and stuff and kind of brightens it up a little bit, and you can tell the difference. And whenever the very rare occasion I play a game that doesn't support HDR, it's very rare nowadays because the Xbox does the auto HDR thing, it is immediately obvious and quite the turnoff. So the next hack for you, Greg, is to use your Apple TV for all your video stuff. Turn on Dolby Vision and let it upconvert everything, and then do that for about a week, and then turn it off and see if you can bear watching anything on it that's not HDR. It's quite striking.
I do already do your strategy without going back and testing it. I basically watch everything on my Apple TV, and
so now turn it off and tell me what you see.
Yeah,
turn it off and see what happens.
Do the test of turning it off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Trust me, you will immediately turn it back on because everything looks just not as bright and poppy and nice. It's really quite crazy.
I was thinking about that also recently for YouTube content, because YouTube does support HDR, and like my camera is capable of doing HDR. I'd have to edit it differently and stuff like that. But I can do HDR footage. However, and Jonathan Morrison was talking about this, so it was fresh in my head. People aren't on like device, or I guess most people watch on their phone. So maybe most people are using HDR.
100%. It's actually very supported now, just because so many people watch on their phones, and HDR content's been supported on phones for quite a while now, that it's actually more supported than you might think. Now, I actually have a desktop that has some HDR monitors and stuff, so I can watch HDR content on my desktop. However, I did notice, and I thought this was really interesting, that my computer can't, even though it's a pretty nice computer, it's like a Ryzen 7 2700, 16 gigs RAM or whatever, it can't do 4K 60 HDR on YouTube for some reason. Like I basically have to go down to 1440p. Now I can do HDR on any other frame rate, but 4K 60 just seems to be too much for it for some reason. I don't understand why. It's not the bandwidth. I have a gig down. It's not that, but it like slows down. So, but the funny thing is, if I could easily do that on like my iPhone, which is hilarious to me. Well, maybe not my iPhone, but like if I had like a Sony, or not Sony, like a Samsung phone or something. So it is interesting, like how efficient these processors are in phones. But yeah, I would be interested to see if you want to do that. I mean, from what I understand, and I don't know if this is true or not, and it would be hard to test. I guess the newer version of the Apple TV properly supports HDR on YouTube. Now, this is different than what I just described. What I described was if you use the YouTube app on the 4K Apple TV that I have, which is the original 4K one, it upconverts everything, but it's actually upconverting the non-HDR version of the video. Whereas I've heard, and I don't know if this is true, that if you have the newer version, if you go to like YouTube, it'll pull up the HDR version. Now, if you go to Jonathan Morrison's secondary channel, it has a bunch of HDR content there. I would love to see if that looks different. So, Greg, do you have the newer one?
The newer Apple TV?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would love if you would test that. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I could probably go ahead and give that a shot and then see what the differences are. So I am still suffering from like displays and PCs are fresh in my head because I am still suffering with what I want to do with this eventual gaming PC setup. And I am looking for HDR monitors, and I really I feel like the OLED would be too big. The 48 inch, which is like the smallest size they have. There are rumors that a 42 inch OLED display is going to be out by the end of this year, which would probably be perfect. But I'm looking at like mini LED displays, which are new. You know, the iPad Pro just got mini LED, and Asus actually makes one. Do you know how much the mini LED monitor that Asus makes is, Travis?
No.
$3,000.
Oh, Lord, have mercy.
Now, listen, I almost considered it for. I know it sounds ridiculous, right? 3,000's a lot. Oh my God. So I probably wouldn't. But listen, here's the deal breaker for that, and I can. The PC industry is a very frustrating place. If you dig into it and look at some of the decisions these manufacturers are making, it would have you scratching your head like crazy. This monitor is $3,000. It just came out. It's like on pre-order. It doesn't support HDMI 2.1.
Yikes.
It's 4K mini LED, 144 hertz. Doesn't have 4.1. So this would be not only a gaming PC, but I think I'd want to hook up like a PS4 to it as well, or a PS5, excuse me. But if you don't have HDMI 2.1, then you can't do 4K at 120 over the new console. So I don't know who's making these decisions over here at like these manufacturers. How can you release a monitor now with $3,000, probably like the perfect specs for like next gen, and not have the 2.1 in HDMI? I do not get that.
Yeah, it's a weird place to be. Turns out that I go to church with a guy who has a pretty well-known computer build channel called Robitech, and he was telling me about kind of what's going on in that version of tech YouTube, and that, you know, of course, getting the GPUs and stuff are so difficult to get as well. So there's just a general shortage. But right now it's like GPUs and I guess a really good monitor. And I think your solution of getting like a TV seems to be the best solution price wise.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. So he has a good channel. It's called Robitech, Robeytech. Nice guy over there. And you know, he was even telling me that like because right now people are having a hard time buying that stuff, they're also having a hard time, you know, with videos and stuff getting traction, because, you know, where are you going to watch a build video if you can't make the darn thing? Although it looks like their live streams do very well. So yeah, it's all around. It's affecting all different types of niches. I mean, probably even cars, I would imagine. I have no idea if it's true, but I would guess that even things like car parts are even suffering. I mean, pretty much everything is. So it's to the point where the pet store where I go get Nathan's food, when they hand you the bag, it no longer has handles because apparently there was a glue shortage to put the handles on the bags. So that's, I mean,
wow.
So there's that.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this on GadgetCast. I mentioned it on my Twitter. I bought like a used car a couple months ago, and it was just before like the price hike happened on used cars. Like I knew like the shortage and stuff like that was affecting them, but I looked up the price recently on the car that I got, and so the same dealership I got it from, same model year, used. This car has more mileage than the one I got. So at the dealership, it has more mileage than the one I got. And it actually looks like it's in slightly worse condition too. It is $4,000 more.
Oh my gosh. Maybe I should sell my car.
Paid for it. The car, legitimately, I think the used car is going more for the retail of it in 2018. If I have like everything right.
I gotta look my car.
I don't understand how that can happen. But yeah, so I was like really thinking, I'm looking at my car, I'm like, can I like flip this? Can I be the first person in the world to flip a used car and like actually make it? Because you know, cars, it's like the worst investment. They lose value as soon as you drive them off the lot. So I'm like, this is a unique opportunity. It's crazy.
Take a look at mine. I want to see like how much mine would be worth. I'm just gonna, because I have probably not as much because it's an SUV. It's a Jeep Cherokee, but yeah.
Max, I think Max Tech said the same thing. Like he had like a used Honda, and it was like more money than he paid for it. Like right now, if he wanted to go sell it. So it is interesting.
Wow. Well, I mean, I don't know. This is interesting. I'm always about, and I don't drive very often. So it's not like I need, like anything. Like I just like how comfortable my car is. But I'm looking it up now. So anyway, yeah. So if you have a used car, you're looking to make some money, you might want to go ahead and see if you can flip your stuff.
It's crazy. The whole world's crazy.
It's crazy. So you were talking about Windows 11. I'm kind of interested because I still haven't actually installed that on anything. What's the deal there?
Okay, so I got a video hopefully coming out tomorrow. It was supposed to be out on Saturday, but I got sidetracked. So it's gonna be Saturday. It's gonna be today. But I got a video coming out tomorrow, I'm guessing, about me using Windows 11 for the first time as someone who hasn't used Windows in a little while. Like I've used Windows throughout the years. I've probably had experience with every version of Windows, honestly, but not that much. So probably the most time I spent on Windows was during Vista and into 7. That's when I used to use a Windows laptop. And then switched over back to Mac after that. So yeah, I used 8 a little bit. I think that's probably regarded as not a good version by a lot of people. And then I also used 10 because I used to boot camp into my Mac to play games on Windows 10. So I've had experience with that just by gaming with it. But I started using Windows 11. I got a Surface Laptop 4, the AMD version. I actually got that at a Best Buy out of a open box for, I think it was like $8.99, so not bad. And the Surface Laptop 4 is an interesting laptop too. I feel like maybe I'll do a video on that as well when I get around to it.
Wait, hold on. I was like, hold on. I'm sorry. Breaking news. What the heck? I just looked up my car, and mine has more mileage, but I just saw. Wait, this can't be right. I didn't even pay that much for my car. My car, I think, is like a 2018. I think it is.
So is mine.
The prices they want for, okay, that's like exactly what, and mine's a better version of that. I would basically lose no money and could potentially make money on a car I've had for 3 years. What the heck?
Mine's the same. Mine's a 2018 model, and I could sell it for more than I paid for it.
When has this ever been the case in cars? We need to do a car podcast.
Crazy, right?
That's insane. Sorry, go ahead.
Apparently, it's only going to get worse. So I don't know.
That's craziness. Okay, sorry. What were you saying?
So Windows 11. I finally got the beta on the beta on the Surface Laptop 4. Mm-hmm. And it is interesting. They made a lot of visual changes that I like to it, like having the taskbar centered. The start menu changes are really nice. I never liked that tile system that they had on desktop. I always felt like, well, people want to use Windows because it's a desktop. They don't want to use like a tablet interface. So they kind of got rid of all that it looks like with Windows 11. And I've just been like playing around with it. There's still some things I don't like. So they spent a lot of time in this presentation going over like animations and stuff like that in Windows. And there's a lot of animations and stuff like that that I still think are really bad. You can kind of see that in the video that I was going over. There's still some cruft there when you go deep enough into settings, as with every Windows version, where it's like Windows is an old operating system. And if you kind of go, a few settings menus deep, you can kind of find like older looking windows or dialog boxes for stuff that isn't as frequently used. But I gotta say, my main interest with Windows 11 is going into it to build a gaming PC. So I was really interested to check it out because a lot of this presentation on Windows 11 was focused around the idea of gaming. And there's going to be a bunch of gaming performance improvements with Windows 11. Mm-hmm. And, the strategy now, and I think a winning strategy with Xbox as the branding for all the gaming on there, and really integrating Xbox Game Pass into Windows. And I gotta say, I was skeptical of Microsoft's approach here. I think after using Windows 11, and I don't know what the current numbers are. I wish I did. I think Microsoft in like the next 5 years is going to be the dominant place where people get their games from on Windows. And if you're not well versed with Windows, you would think, aren't they already? No, because Steam and other stores like that really ate their lunch for like a long time. And Microsoft has been trying to compete in getting people to buy Windows games on their storefront for a long time and have never really been successful. But Travis, if you have Game Pass, it's just like using it on the Xbox. You go in there, you can start downloading games and start playing them just right on your PC.
Yeah.
And it is a good service for that, for discovering like even like older games that you'd want to play on a PC. And that's what a lot of people on PC do, because if you're used to playing them on console, you can see a huge visual upgrade just by going to PC, because you have so much more settings to mess around with.
Yep.
And that's what I was doing, and I was getting like really hyped into it. I'm like, wow, so even like the first day I build my gaming PC, even not having one for so long, I will have all these games ready to play day one. Day one.
Listen, I'm a fan of Xbox. I've been ever since Game Pass was announced. I thought it was a great idea. I always believed in it. So some of this doesn't come as a complete surprise to me, but I'm super excited to see what they're able to do with Windows 11 in this. Still unsure when I'm going to actually upgrade, because of course that goes in my main PC. So I don't really have any other secondary PCs I would be able to throw it on first to play around with. I guess I have one, but yeah, I mean, it's gaming. There's so much money in gaming that Microsoft had to get into it. I mean, they really don't have a choice. And quite frankly, if they're able to do it in a way that integrates with the operating system you're already going to have, it's brilliant. It's a win-win-win-win-win. And to further push, and I believe what they're trying to do is kind of what Steam's already doing, is when you buy a game, I believe what they want to do is have it so that you can cloud stream it too. So any game you own, you can cloud stream. So right now they have a lot of games available for cloud streaming. But I think they want to get to the point where not only can you buy the games from there, but you can cloud stream any game you have, so that when you leave your desktop and you want to play it on your phone somewhere else, you can play any game that you have. So I believe that's the direction they want to go. I don't know how long it's going to take to get there. Anything is possible at this point. Also, I noticed that Rusty Chain's in the chat talking about how he works at a dealership. Rusty, I actually believe he lives not too far from me. I'm going to go figure out what my thing is. I'm going to have him do a real-time guesstimate of how much my car is worth while you talk a little bit more about Windows 11. Hold on, I'll be right back, but go ahead and talk about that.
Wow. So the gaming stuff on it is really cool with Xbox Game Pass. The integration in there is so tight on Windows 11, it appears now, like it wasn't on other versions, that I'm just getting really excited to like buy my PC, my gaming PC, and start playing all those games. But I still like ran into problems on Windows 11 with some like basic functionality. So like, and people in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, like Windows doesn't have like a native screen recorder. They have what's called like the Xbox Game Bar, which you can like record like a window or like games on the Xbox, but there's no like built-in screen recorder, which I thought was like really weird.
So they didn't add that. So I've been using the Windows recorder, Xbox recorder, whenever I had to record Windows, and it works fine. I actually use it for any of the ones you see me. Well, no, that's not true. I have in the past used it for some of the videos I've done where I've sat down and done reactions. But I think that's because they want it to be used for both rather than having just a screen recorder. Now, I don't necessarily agree that that's the way to go. I would rather see something a little bit easier, a little bit more stripped down. But I think I think it's the push to gaming, because they figured that's what most people are going to use it for, I guess.
I just thought it was weird that like in Windows, like there's no like basic way to record your screen without doing like a workaround like that. And then there's a lot of apps that do it and stuff like that, but it's like another third-party app you have to download. A lot of the apps I was trying out have like time recording limits unless you pay money into them.
Right.
I know people have recommended like OBS and doing it like that way, but I already made my video, so you're gonna hear me complain about it in my video, because it is like iOS has it, Android has it, Mac OS has it. It is weird to go to like an operating system, especially one as old as Windows, and then also this is going to be released this year, and it's like screen recording at this point, I feel like is a very basic form of functionality. Not sure why it's just not like, hey, I press this keyboard combination and I can record the screen without going in and recording gameplay. I just felt like it feels weird in 2021, especially.
Yeah, it's a small missing thing.
Yeah, little things like that.
My guess is they're just going to refine the existing one on the game thingy again, with the more focus on gaming. Again, whether or not that's the right direction or not, I think it's just something that they've chosen to do. But yeah, I mean, Windows 11, we'll see. I don't think I'm going to have it on my PC this year. I like to try to wait a little while. But yeah, I mean, really, how important is screen recording for the 90% of the people using Windows? Probably not that much. It's probably mostly for people that are creators of some sort who would kind of know the workarounds around it. Either if they're using OBS or something like that. That's actually what I do record my reaction videos to. So yeah, I mean, I am interested to see it, but I'm just not in such a hurry that I'm going to risk my production computer to put it on.
Well, you know, it's spoiler alert. Like after using it, it's still Windows. It is not like a revolution at all. It is a very minor update. Like it's not a huge update. A lot of the stuff in the update is just some visual refinements. And that's something you don't have to go out and risk your, you know, it's not something you have to risk your main computer for on something that might look slightly better, you know, like those updates are always the ones that's like, well, I can wait. There's no groundbreaking feature here that's gonna like make me go, oh, I need to upgrade to this or I won't have that feature. I didn't really find any features that I was like, this is so much better than Windows 10.
Yeah, no kidding. So with that, real quick, I want to talk a little bit about Xbox. They have continued to grind out some, you know, great new exclusives, some great new titles, some additional frame FPS boost games, which I love, that take older games and up the frames per second on them, and have done some really great things in gaming. I'm having a lot of fun with my Xbox Series X, really enjoying it, and I see that now Sony is doing something kind of similar, where now they have added a couple of features. There was a couple of games where Xbox supported 120 frames per second, where the PlayStation didn't. I think one of those was Call of Duty, the kind of the free one, the one that like you can, I think everyone can play. What is a battle royale version? I forgot what it's called. Warzone. And they recently added something that allows you to get 120 hertz in there too. And they're kind of doing what Microsoft is doing. Slightly. Actually, Microsoft is doing something really tricky with some of the back compat games. They actually are going into like DirectX and the API itself and tricking it to think that the game is running at 30 when it really runs at 60. They're doing some really cool stuff. I like that. This is what I like when a company sees the critiques of the previous product or something and then fixes those things and then even kind of surpasses what people were expecting. We're seeing that from Microsoft this time around because Sony had done such a good job last time. And I think if you look at it, like if we look in the mobile space, we see a little bit of that from Apple with some of the M1 products. I think we are going to be slightly I don't even want to say slightly disappointed because I just don't see how the iPhone 13/12s is interesting at all. I don't think we're going to see a Galaxy Note this year. We'll see foldables, and we'll see if they really implement some of the issues from the fixes for issues that they had last year. This is one of those years that I really hope to see people look at the criticisms of last year's products, no matter what the product type it is, and take those things in consideration and up them to the next level. I believe Microsoft is doing that, and even with maybe Windows itself, kind of doing a good job with that. Also, the rumor is, with John Prosser saying in one of the latest front page texts that one of the criticisms I've had on Google was more support. 5 years on this potential Pixel 6 is a great move. I mean, it's obviously straight out of the book of Apple in a way. I mean, it's not like Apple even says how long they're going to support a phone. They just end up supporting it forever. But yeah, I mean, it's you know, the rising tide raises all ships. So I like this.
Yes.
All right, Rusty. Look, buddy. Just on the spot, we're gonna find out. I think mine's 2018 Jeep Cherokee Limited with 70,000 miles. What kind of trade-in can I get that at your place? Would you think? I'm just curious. I'm not gonna do it. I'm just curious. If you had to guess, what do you think?
He might.
If he says a lot, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't need a new car. I love the fact my car's paid off. I love that. But yeah. So not only did we hear about him flushing it down the toilet, his wedding ring down the toilet. He told me about it before he posted it in that video. So that's kind of bad. Don't do that, Greg. Don't flush your wedding ring down the toilet.
I won't.
It's not a good idea.
I won't do it.
When is your wedding, by the way? When are you getting married?
I don't know. Now I got to figure all that up now that everything's looking hopefully back to normal. I think I got to maybe, I don't know. I feel like this year would probably be too soon. Probably next year.
Next year? Cool.
Dude,
he works at a Jeep dealership. This is perfect. Rusty. Come on, man.
So I looked it up. Going back to, I was looking at market share because we're talking about Microsoft in this gaming space. Just for a quick tidbit, Steam for the market share of all PC games sold. Do you know what Steam's market share is?
It's got to be over 80%.
Oh, almost 75%.
Wow,
75%. So, and in video games, the consoles make no money. Like Series X and PS5, they're being sold either at cost or maybe even at a loss.
Yeah.
Where they make all their money is in the software. So Microsoft, if they can pull off this strategy with Game Pass and become the dominant player, not only in console, but if they can get the PC, if they can get that mind share that the first app you launch isn't Steam, it's Xbox because you have Game Pass, it is going to be such a huge win for them. And I think it will be based on my experience because the store is also laid out way nicer than Steam. Like Steam looks old and it's like not like that nicely laid out. Like the Xbox experience of like getting these games and then having it free. And if you're a console player who's going to PC for the first time, that's the first thing you're going to load up because every game you get there is also going to be on your PC. You're like that strategy everywhere. Oh, have you tried the streaming to your iPad yet?
I've tried it on my PC. It's basically the same thing because it's using a browser, but I did not try it specifically on the iPad.
How did it work on your PC for streaming?
It freaking works. Now the thing is, the one reason why I don't do it for a lot of the games, although it was something I was waiting for, is mainly because a lot of the games you can stream, you actually have higher frame rates and such available on the Series X. But if you're away from your console, then it makes sense. Now, here's something else I heard. I heard that Microsoft is actually going to start putting, because right now, what runs their cloud services are just a bunch of Xbox Ones, but I guess they're going to put Series X in there, which means higher frame rates and stuff, which could be very exciting, very, very exciting. But I like it. This is why I love the Ultimate, because like you get PC, you get Xbox, you get streaming. They're really they're killing it. It's such a cool thing, and now you can play it on your iPad, your iPhone. Whatever has a browser.
Yeah, that's the real winner. Like getting it like on the iPad and stuff like that. I really want to try that out. I should go do that tonight.
I'm surprised you didn't, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I really should. I heard about it and I was like, oh, I need to try that out, and then I never did. But like,
so now you can play whatever. I mean, listen, here's the thing. You've been able to do stuff like that with NVIDIA Shield and stuff like that, where the Enforce or GeForce,
but
whatever.
A lot of those services, and I have a lot more faith in Microsoft, a lot of those services never really worked out too well. And there is always like a little bit of like too much latency. I feel like Microsoft will probably nail it though. I don't know. I just feel like they have the infrastructure to.
They certainly do.
They
certainly do.
I feel like they'll really do it.
So then my question is, do they have does Steam, I mean, I know Steam has like these little social things where you can follow games and all these other cool things. They do Steam sales, which are really important. Yeah. But is there so what would Microsoft have to transplant out of Steam in order to get people to move over? I think one thing they could do is offer discounts for any game they already own on Steam. I think that's one way you get people moved over, and you almost have to do that. And then the question is, what social portions of Steam do you have to replace and put on the Xbox, computer or PC version of Xbox Game Pass and stuff? Because there's different things on Steam.
Yeah. No, there's more to it than just buying games. Yeah, I don't know what kind of social things they'd have to add to it, and what kind of things they'd have to do to entice people to come over from Steam. But I just know like most people start off playing on console, like before you become really into PC gaming, it seems like a lot of people start off like playing on console. And then eventually they're like, I want to get the best experience possible. I'm going to spend like $2,000 on a gaming PC and get the ultimate experience.
Sure.
But for this new generation who has like a Series X or even the Series S, like the $300 console, and you're like, you know what? I want to get a better experience on this. I can't imagine like you would build a gaming PC and not just go to the Xbox storefront where you literally have everything, especially as more game sales become digital. And again, the big push here being Game Pass being such a good value. I imagine it would just become the default service. And then, Microsoft can do some cool stuff with like the online stuff. And I think they have a real good shot at maybe not being maybe not surpassing Steam, but maybe, I don't know, maybe like getting up there and shaving off some of that 75%. There's a lot of room to grow on the PC gaming front for sales.
I mean, it's all the possibilities are there, and this is the time to do it, especially with the new opportunities coming out. So for sure,
they have the only And I'm a PlayStation guy, so I'm you can trust me when I say this. They have the only what seems like the only unifying cross-platform strategy out there right now. Nintendo doesn't have it. Sony doesn't have it. Microsoft has it to the point of where it's almost like they are platform agnostic. They don't care if you get an Xbox. They don't care if you get a PC. And who knows what the future brings. Maybe, and I've seen some of these things where there's these PC Switch type devices where it's it looks like a Nintendo Switch, but it can run PC games and stuff like that.
Yep.
I mean, maybe Microsoft should make their own portable version of that. And all of a sudden, I think you have but they probably don't need to with this streaming stuff now that you can stream it on your phone. I mean, that's the holy grail. Everyone has a phone. If you can get this stuff working out and get it to be a good experience.
Yep.
You don't need to sell them another device.
You also don't have as worry about GPU prices or anything like that as much either.
Exactly. So it's going to be, this generation of gaming felt like it was stalled from the start, especially with Cyberpunk and all that stuff. It feels, and the shortages, it feels like we really haven't kicked off the next generation. But what these new consoles do and what these new experiences do refine a lot of the problems that made gaming kind of a pain in the past, to the point of where they just released Final Fantasy. We're talking about games getting re-optimized. Final Fantasy VII just got that on PS5. They upgraded it from the PS4 version with 4K HDR.
Wow.
The biggest change isn't even those visual updates, Travis. There's no load times. Because
that's awesome.
SSDs are so fast.
Yeah.
You just press start, and before on PS4 it'd be a 2-minute loading screen. I was just in the game. I was literally taken aback. Wait, that's it?
Yeah,
it was
I love
so
that.
fast, and I was like, that is awesome.
Yeah, I love that about the games I'm playing too. It's a transformative experience. It's been really, really great. Anything else before we hit into the aftercast?
I think we said it all. It's a long show.
We said it all. We said it all, everybody. So we'll, of course, be back. Last week we weren't here because of 4th of July, but we're back. Doing. I like, while the news is kind of slow on the mobile side, I like talking about other tech,
personal stuff. Come on.
Yeah, and personally, I like we're doing this. So if you like it, leave us a comment, leave us a voicemail, do all the things. You know how we do this. We appreciate you for listening. Of course, you can check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/GadgetCast. You also can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps us out a lot. And you can leave us messages or whatever the heck. For those of you watching on YouTube, we'll do our aftercast. And for everyone else, we will see you next week. He is Greg. I am Travis. This is GadgetCast.
Space travel.
There you go. So, Rusty, you were saying that some people were buying out their leases and stuff. I actually own my car. Do you have any idea how much trade-in I could get for that? A 2018 limited Jeep Cherokee with 70,000 miles. Do you have any idea? I'm just curious. This is the aftercast, baby. We can talk about anything now. Ooh, we'll see what he says. Way, what's going on? What are you looking at?
Would you get a new car, or would you just be like?
Well, so the one 4-wheel drive. It's not 4-wheel drive. It is 2-wheel drive because I didn't need the 4-wheel drive. It's a 2-wheel drive one. The reason why the only reason, because I like having my car paid off. I don't drive very much at all. The only reason, this is going to sound dumb, that I would probably get it would be because I want app CarPlay and Android Auto. I want those. Much other than that, my car's damn perfect. I love it. I love it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just curious if I can get one of the newer Jeep Cherokees with CarPlay and stuff, and I only have to pay a little bit of extra money because my used is so good, I might consider that. I might come see Rusty. Say, Rusty, man, what's up? Let's do this.
And my car has CarPlay. It's nice.
Yeah, I do like CarPlay. I've seen it. I was in a Porsche the other day, first time ever. That was legit.
Whoa.
And it was amazing. The CarPlay on that's really cool too. Yeah, I saw Kelly's Blue Book and everything, America's Finest, but the thing is, Rusty works at a dealership. Like I could literally go to his dealership and have a good idea of what I can get. Like this is real money, not just internet, hopefully, because a lot of it has to do with like where you are in the country and stuff. And Rusty is in my area. So I'm trying to get like some real information here. So
I say you just go Tesla. And,
you're very close to what you paid for it. We're doing crazy deals. So if the dealership is cool, well, I only paid like $15K for it or something like that a couple of years ago. But based on what I was seeing, what people are selling it for, it's selling it for a lot more than that. So I was hoping that I could get even more out of it. Like, can I get 17 for that thing? It's in great condition. Plus, it's been in several YouTube videos. Does that make it worth anything?
That's, more money.
Award-winning MCP videos.
It's the Travis MCP car. Like that's how you MCP? Like, Travis MCP drove this car. So
it's the MCP edition, man. Come on, I'll even sign it. I'll autograph it. Everything around here is 4-wheel drive. Oh, you're in Reading, PA. Oh, I thought you were around here, Rusty. Why do I think you were here local?
Oh, he's close to me. I'll come up to Rusty. I'll sell my car and get something nice.
I used to live near Reading, actually. Why the heck did I think that he lived near me? That must be somebody else. Anyway, yeah, I used to be near Reading, PA. Maybe that's why, because I used to be.
I'll go to Reading. Get this.
There you go.
Get this sale.
Get your better deal.
Yeah.
Man, I'm hungry. Throw in the belt. That belt. I can't throw in the belt. I can throw in one of my smaller belts. I can throw in this championship belt. Want the smaller one? I'll throw that one in. 289 phones. Congratulations, David. That's a lot of phones. All right, probably why I'm really hungry. I need to eat. So I'm probably going to throw this file to you here in a minute as soon as we get out of here. What are you going to do for the rest of the day there, Greggy?
I don't know. The world? No, I probably should go edit my video.
Yeah, good idea. I need to come up with video ideas. I probably
to me, and it's like I recorded this video like 3 days ago, and I just haven't had like the will to like sit down and like finish it. You ever get that way? It's like,
shoot, I'm barely even. I can't even hardly figure out what video to make at this point. Not only am I kind of under like motivated, the fact is when you put something out, it does crap. So I'm like, bleh. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah, I would love to. I need to come up with something. So I'll probably do some research here soon to see what type of. I was hoping that my last video would have done decent, even if it was in a slow kind of time for YouTube, but it did not. It shit the bed really, but I knew it was going to do bad.
I think it's slow for everyone right now. So
it is. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. We got time for about 2 or 3 more minutes if anyone has questions for us or whatever before we head off to do our things. You watched my live. Thank you, Sharon. Appreciate you. I thought it was kind of fun. I actually have an idea for another video, but I haven't shot it yet because, again, I kind of wanted to wait until things got a little better, but I don't even know when that's going to be. Like, it's very difficult to know. So much of it had to do with when Apple had something going on. And since Samsung doesn't have the Note coming out, and I don't know when the foldable stuff is going to happen, we'll have to see. All right. Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop us out of here. I'm going to send this file over to Greg so we can put it onto the audio podcast platforms tomorrow sometime or whatever. And, we'll take it from there. We thank you guys and gals for showing up. It's been kind of slow in tech, but, Sonny is so right, man. Like, everything's boring. Yeah, I know, Sharon. We got to do something about this. I'm saying, I don't know. We got to do something.
Sonny, some hot leaks on something.
Yeah, man. Give us a really good
stuff up. Just like come out there and be like, yo, Apple in like 20 days is gonna.
No, give me more information about the iPod mini. The iPad mini, man.
I just did hear about the iPad mini. Supposedly it's gonna be like the new design and like everything.
Well, yeah. So he had the I forget someone's video shared like pictures from the pictures that he had, and it looked. But I thought that was still in the air as to whether or not it's actually going to be the next gen. If it's the next gen look, I'm probably buying one for sure.
Sonny, start doing rumors on like, do it on like, just start doing rumors about other people. Let's get some, get some John Prosser rumors. Let's get some iUpdate rumors. Yeah,
I've kind of been wanting to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. John Prosser might be an alien. I don't know.
Yeah, if you got Samsung rumors, man, I'd like to hear those up. I mean, I would do some Samsung videos right around now because I don't think much of anything else is. I don't know what's working on YouTube right now. I have to pay attention. Anyway, thank you guys and gals for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Peace and love.
Peace.
Peace and love.